All right, we are live. What's going on, fellow traders? Hope you had a great trading day today. Let me get this tweeted out here. There it is. Okay, let's see. Tweet. Oh, I think I meant to tweet the live link. I did the other one. Hold on one second. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Forgot to put the live on there. Live. There we go. All right, that should be a better link. Awesome. Good. Yeah, so I hope everybody had a great trading day today. It was definitely interesting. Let's take a quick look here. Give me 1 second. Make sure everything's pulling up here. Okay, good. Yeah, so hope hope everything's going well. Let me pull up today's levels. Okay, so quick recap of the. Let's just go to the monthly chart and just kind of see what's happening here. Okay, so as we've been talking about, we had a hammer month last month, and we have been taking that hammer to the upside here this month. We got a bunch of follow through today. Remember, it was had that upper shadow that it was forming. Well, that just got basically refilled and then pushed up a little bit today. So didn't hit all-time highs, but we closed above all-time highs. So you see the close right here is above. That was the all-time highs there. So it closed above that level. So pretty big deal. We will see. We've got some major earnings coming out tomorrow. We've got Boeing. We've got Caterpillar. So so hopefully, they're good, so we can, push a little bit higher and get to all-time highs, which would be pretty amazing after that epic move down. So, but just kind of, candle by candle. Last week, we had a doji week at the upper Keltner channel here, which is this blue line. We talked about this in the, if you guys are subscribed to the newsletter, which comes out every Sunday, the Positive Trends newsletter, we talked about, using caution here, right? But, obviously keeping an open mind, right? Because in general, everything's been bullish, but we still have this open gap below on the weekly chart, right? So now it was a kicking bar, right? So a kicker bar right here on the weekly, that basically Maribozu bar here, all the way to the upside. It's a very bullish, momentum move. And so, seeing a pause here is not not surprising. And then getting a expansion from this contraction is also not out of the ordinary, right? So we definitely could see that happening. So pretty amazing area. If we look at just kind of the the daily, it was pretty phenomenal. We almost closed an inside day yesterday, but it closed it ticked just above it, just to make it a little bit interesting. And then we got that push to the upside today. Huge move to. It's honestly, not really a huge bar. 27 points. Here this was 45 points, right? So here was 42 points. Now these, back in 2017, we saw a lot of bars like this, but recently, we've just been kind of drifting up here with some gap ups, and then just kind of choppy throughout the whole day. So today was a pretty phenomenal move. Let's take a look at the price action and just kind of see how that happened here today on the SPX. So make sure you have all the right levels pulled up. Okay, so we're good. So these were today's levels. So pretty interesting stuff if you look at the 5-minute chart, which is my favorite to trade off of intraday. The 15 is good too, and of course the 60s, I use that for a different strategy, typically for trading stocks, but not on the SPX, just because it moves so fast that you can miss some big moves if using the 60s. So, but using price action really helps in these levels. So, so here we opened today. It was we were kind of choppy. We were flat at the toward the open with the futures, and then we started pushing up a little bit as Twitter earnings were positive, and then I think some other, like Verizon, was initially looking pretty good, and so things were looking pretty good, so we started to gap up. We tested yesterday's close, that kind of level, this volumetric level area here with this red kind of hanging man bar. So it was red. It kind of closed on yesterday's high, and so wanted to see what the next bar did. And here I was, if this closed a green hammer, that might have been a little more incentive to go long at the open, but at the same time, you had this was kind of thinking maybe there'd be like a hammer or some sort of different bar. This is just, came straight up to this level, right? And then we had a bull flag here, broke to the upside. We actually caught this this red bar here short in the private Twitter, which comes free to newsletter subscribers. So we had basically like a little tweezer top here at a level, and this is actually a pretty big move compared to the last couple of days, right? So I mean, we were down from 29.08 all the way up to 29.19. So I mean, 10 points is was pretty exhaustive over the last 2 weeks, and so attempting a trade here was a good risk reward. We ended up catching some profit on that, and fortunately, move stops pretty quickly because the next bar was green, next bar was red, next bar was green, and it got really choppy for a little bit and seemed kind of par for the course. An epic move like that, what are we just going to chop all day for the rest of the day? And then here's what happened, right? We had another bull flag, right? And we had this reversal bar here at R1 and R2, and then from there, Maribozu bar from there. So basically, you're bullish on this bar or as a potential reversal in the bull flag break, and then it just basically transfers right over and goes right up. So at that point, you can either go along there, and then you have 1, 2, 3, right? 3 white soldiers, right, going up, 3 white soldier pattern, and then boom, you get that pop to the upside, gets to a new level, keeps going. Technically you could think 1, 2, 3, another setup of 3 white soldiers, and then you get the follow through here, bull flag into the 5 MA, and then pushes all the way through R2. I mean, just an amazing day today, amazing push today on that. So and then chop, and then from there, if you feel like you missed that move, then you want to trade, then you just get chopped up for the rest of the day. It was pretty nasty after that. So it didn't feel like a lot of momentum behind this, even though you look at these bars and it was pretty significant. So so that was kind of the tricky move right there in the beginning. This red bar that kind of came from there. But if you look at the 15-minute chart, trade off the 15s. If you look at this first 15 minute, we like to trade the orb levels, right? So this is your 15-minute orb, right? So your opening range bar, and so you had your obviously the same levels down here. You had your bottom and your top, and then from there, right, that is bullish on a break over here, and then you have this momentum hammer bar, and then from there, this is actually tradable all the way up if you just trail candle by candle on the 15. So your entry here on a break of this bar to the upside is 29.15, right? You keep riding that up, and then you move your stop here to 29.16, then you move stop here to 29.17, right? You still don't get stopped out here because it never takes out that level. Then you move, and then let's see, you never would have gotten stopped out until the end of the day. So for the most part, but that is a pretty good place to take profit there from a nice 20-point move from from that 29 kind of 29.15, 29.16 level. So pretty amazing day today. Anyway, just kind of want to go over that. So tomorrow, what are we looking at? Let's see. We got to see what earnings are. But it's nice to see that our ranges are finally increasing, right? So we've had all this choppiness. Now we can actually start trading intraday. Instead of like really having to be like super precise in these areas. Now we can still be precise, but we can capitalize on bigger moves because our ranges are going to be bigger, right? So if you just kind of look at the floor pivot levels, which I provide to daily and the private Twitter, to subscribers. And so you click here, and then boom, your ranges are like so much bigger than before. So you've got your daily pivot level here, right? And then you have beyond the close, we have, this would be, essentially today's high. To get to the next level, it's 29.36 to almost 29.45. So nice 10-point ranges, which are much more fun to trade than 3-point ranges and 2-point ranges, right? So that should open things up a little bit, especially with Boeing and Caterpillar reporting tomorrow. So we'll see what they do. Assuming, Boeing has got, I don't know, who knows? They've won a bunch of contracts this year with the military. So they may surprise with some earnings, and then if they do surprise with earnings, they'll probably come out and say something like, something positive about guidance, that they're fixing things and all that stuff. It might actually be a pretty stellar earnings report. We'll see. If not, then we could see, more red. This could have just been a push up into some bad earnings, and then for it just to go back down again. So it'd be pretty interesting at close to all-time highs, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Market decided to do that, because look what it did here today. It got really, really close, and then it just stalled out, right? I mean, don't think that everybody didn't want to get to all-time highs, right? I mean, it just is, the market is funny that way, right? So it just tricks as many people as possible, and this end here is pretty interesting. Now, if this did be a measured movement tomorrow, that would be up, sideways, and then up. So it could be pretty epic if everything is a beat tomorrow and the market is strong. So just keep that in mind. So let me just check in, make sure. Okay, cool. Everybody's jumping in. Good to see everybody. So today we're basically going to continue the price action. We talked about a bunch of it today. Just kind of reviewing the the SPX and just kind of looking at the price action here, right? Hammer bar, key hammer bar here at a bull flag at a key level, right? Where, moving averages are pointing up. I mean, these are just, great price action type stuff. So what is the one thing we could have done, right? Or one thing we, did do or could have done to make sure that we're in an uptrend? And one of the things that we talked about yesterday is the trend line, right? So we did that. So we have, we could do that here. Let me pull a trend line here. So, we just take the low here and just kind of find the next kind of pivot. You could do it here, but obviously it's a little bit tight. So let's say you take that level there and then you take that to the upside. So I'm going to extend that to the right, and there you go. So as long as you're above the trend line, right, as long as you're trending up, right, there's you're not really looking for reversals and shorts, right? Now we did this here in the private chat just because it was a high risk reward, but obviously it wasn't high probability. Necessarily because the trend was still up, right? So, but if you looked short term, if you were right here intraday, right? Let me pull that over here. If you didn't see that bar yet, your trend line would have been essentially this green moving average right there, right? So, it's potentially breaking trend here, and then could have potentially got some fall through, but it didn't, right? So that's the no confirmation on that. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, so here's your uptrend bar all day, right? So so the alternative to doing trend lines are great, and they tell you the exact way to trend, but sometimes things move in channels. And we've done a discussion before on trend channels. We've also talked about Keltner channels and Bollinger Bands, which are a type of channel, right? So here, if we just pull our channel tool out and we draw that here, right? And we find other pivot points essentially that make sense. So just say here, right? Because we had this pivot and this pivot. So basically, SPX is working its way up a channel. And so that's just another tool that you can use to kind of gauge movement and kind of waves. So, this might have been the first area, and that might have been your first pivot. So you can see we came up to this channel, chopped to the right here, and then moved all the way to the top of the channel. Look what happens when we hit the top of the channel. We came back in a little bit, right? So these are key things that you can use intraday just to kind of gauge, momentum and reversal, possibilities. So what happened here is we overshot the channel, which can be bullish if you get some sort of continuation. Now, what I like is what it does. It broke out of the channel, came back in, retested the channel, right, and then didn't give you any follow through, and it came back in. So once this reversal, so you had an inside bar, then you had a bar here that countered the inside bar, tried to the upside, failed, right? So let's just zoom in and look at that. Okay. Inside bar tried to the upside, failed. That shows that it probably wants to at least test the bottom of that inside bar, which it did, right? So you could actually short here because you're right inside the channel, and then work your way possibly to the bottom. That would have been a decent target as this R2. Now, it never got there. So you had this happen, right? So push, kind of mini measured move, right? Push, pause, push, and then just kind of stopped, right? Inside bar, and then never got any momentum after that. So it kind of came like that for the rest of the day. What that does give you, though, is it gives you another channel that you could trade in as you get new highs and new lows. So here we have this. So the trend was basically flat, and then, oh, I thought I was doing channel. 1 second. I'm going to do that. Here ended up being a perfect kind of downward trend line, except we like to draw a downward trend line from the top. And so we had two levels right there. Initially, what we would have done is, let me activate that one more time. And what we do, that would have been the first level right there because we came and hit, right? Came back down, hit, and then you see how it behaves towards the top of the channel, right? So this was another overshoot of the channel. It tried to get back in, failed, and then once it kind of came back in the channel, this is a good place, confirmation bar, to attempt to short to at least get to the bottom of the channel. So here we go. So came back in, right? There's your confirmation bar, and then a push to the downside. Now this is a very minor move, 29.32. To 2030, so 2-point move. Not really doable with options, right? So, but this is you can do this on any time frame, right? So the bigger the channel, in a lot of cases, kind of the better, right? So if you go to the SPX daily, let's pull back here. Here's our pitchfork, which does end up giving you a channel altogether. But what do we have? Okay, so we had this channel, right? So your price action on the daily time frame, right? So we had this channel all the way up through 2017, right? Failed, to hit the top of the channel, and then finally gave you a confirmation bar breakdown here, and then eventually tried to retest, failed, and then gave you some chop, but then ultimately came to the bottom, right? So, and then we had a bigger channel, which was, so if I remove this, and then put this channel, where did this go? If I recall correctly. I remember that being a very key level. And so, let's see, 1 second. I do from high to high. Look at that. Perfect. So that was your channel that took us all the way through basically 2018, right? And so those levels are significant. So if I increase the size of that and then draw it to the right, we see how the price action behaves around that. So I'm going to make that a little bit bigger, and I'm going to extend it to the right. Okay, so there's the channel there. And now let's kind of go across and see. So you can see what happened, right? It came to the bottom of the channel, right? And then it retested again. Couldn't quite break through there. And then when it finally broke here, then it was your confirmation to the downside, right? Now it's back in the channel, right? And we talked about this actually a lot through the beginning of the year as we were coming back up. And so we got back into the channel here. And so what happens when it held, it retested, and now it's kind of working its way back up the channel, right? So we right here, this line here is about the is the midpoint of this this pitchfork range. If it can get through there, you know, very possibly, here's a reaction line right here. It could get there at maybe the end of May. It could get to, you know, 3,018, and at that point, well, it might want to work its way back down the channel, right? So these are just different tools that you can use on multiple time frames. You know, it just depends on, you know, where your comfort levels are and you know, what your risk thresholds are. So hopefully you guys found that helpful. If at this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those into the chat window, and we'll run through those. We'll try to get as much done as we can before 10 o'clock. We usually run a little bit over, and you know, kind of get through that, and that's way so everybody can get some rest. So that being the case, I had a request to. I'm gonna try to do this to see if it syncs with my my streaming. So when I'm gonna see how this works. We go through a lot of chart requests to try to put the timestamp down for each stock that we go through. So if anybody's really curious, like the, you know, later that day or the next day of, you know, or even go back and see what we looked at. I'm going to try to do it. If it gets too cumbersome, I'll just I won't be able to do it. But it's easy. Just kind of, I could probably just put a timestamp to where. In fact, I might do that. So I'm just going to do timestamp of where we started doing chart requests, and then so 1730 was a chart request. So good stuff. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, I appreciate everybody for jumping in tonight. So good crowd tonight. Awesome. I really appreciate everybody's support, and thank you to all new subscribers to the newsletter too. Thank you guys, and of course everybody who's been with us. So really appreciate it. So Jay, what's going on? Hello. Shirley, how are you? Prayer Kid, what's going on? Glad you can make it. Good job today. Sonny, what's going on? Good to see you. La Machine Bolognese, what is up? Good to see you. Julian, what's up? Good to see you. JS, hello. Joseph Lombardo. Hey, everyone. GWW, please, and thank you. My pleasure. So let's take a look. GWW. Okay, Granger. What have we got here? So they did earnings. They had earnings yesterday morning. Let's just take a look at the candles and see what those look like. Okay, yeah. So, you know, gap down, you know, on earnings, filled the gap real quick, and then reversed off of that gap resistance area, and then came back down. So now it's kind of reached a level, and you'll see here it kind of put in a hammer bar here, trying to get it back into the daily cloud, and then this level here is really pretty key. This is your volumetric level. It would be neat if there was still a gap above. It has to hold, you know, today's low. If it wants to be bullish, right? If it breaks, that's a tail fail, and then you could push to the downside. You do have a pivot point here at 280.71, and if it can't hold that, then you've got, you know, all the way back down to 269. So this is a really key bar that you got today. It did have some volume come in on it too. So if it could hold that and break above it, then it's held these volumetric levels, and you could continue the upside. You can see how that was really a key level. You kind of had this head and shoulders, never broke down, and then even after earnings today, it couldn't really keep it down too much. But very important bar today. So definitely keep that in mind. Paul, what's going on? Good to see you, man. JS Yeti. Let's take a look. Good old Yeti. There was a write up on that in I think Barron's last weekend. But let's see how that's doing. Yeah, we definitely have checked this out. So we had the lows here, this trough to peak. We did a fib fan line. Look how it's just kind of working its way up through that fib fan line area. So at this point, earnings coming up May 2nd. So it did try to, it did break to the upside after yesterday's, kind of rough day. So we'll see. At this point, I'm not seeing, it looks kind of, it could be kind of like a bull flag, type thing working here. So, just kind of see how that, it holds in that range. If anything, though, it just kind of looks like it with the close today. It's kind of like a let's see if that looks. It's probably like a green shooting star. Yeah. So I can have that. Like at this point, it's really choppy in this area. It might retest these levels, might come down to the fib fan line, then work its way. Start working its way back up. But pretty interesting. SMAR, SMAR. Okay, smart sheet. Oh, wow. So this is inside bar, 47, 47. No, I just missed it by a penny. But still, it held this cloud support really well and then pushed up through it and then gave you a nice pause bar here. It looks like we've done a pitchfork on this one not too long ago. Yeah, so that looks pretty good. Let's see how that's been working, those levels. Yeah, it's been working pretty amazingly, actually. So it pushed up, got back to the pitchfork, retested the bottom of the pitchfork, and then tested some fib fan support, got back over volumetric levels, and it's trying to get back in the pitchfork. So just like the channels, these pitchforks work similarly. So if we can continue to push, it might consolidate a little bit more, then it might work its way back up kind of to that 47 level. So that looks pretty neat. And then NVTA. This was a Def Day Trader profile stock today. I think he did a tweet on that. So he's great, man. And so here we go. So we have so this one we had the upper trend line right here. It broke, right? So we had an inside day. Right? This was actually great price action, right? So broke the inside bar here, broke the trend line to the downside, showing change of trend, and got a little bit of follow through there too. So it's trying to reclaim it right now. And I have these levels. I'm just trying to see what I was extending from. It looked a little bit. This looks a little bit weird. This must have been an example from some volumetric levels, and they must have changed as the prices shift up. Let me activate this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down here, bring that down here, and then kind of see where we're at. Just see if there's anything significant. Let's retrace here. Okay, that looks pretty good. So that's just using these volume levels. We've done a kind of a discussion on that before, using volume, the volumetric levels, in combining with Fibonacci's too. So you can see that now this is a pretty good support level. As long as it holds this level, it looks pretty good to at least possibly retest maybe that trend line area, which could have actually been a channel too. If we really wanted to, we could have done this. Kind of like that, and then kind of there. So if we can get back in there, then definitely bullish action is imminent, right? So, but at this point, it's holding that level pretty well. So, pretty good stuff there. Nice. Oh, and by the way, I can't remember who mentioned Kohl's yesterday. I get some great chart requests, and somebody asked for a KSS yesterday, and then to see what it did today was just phenomenal. And I think we were bullish on it yesterday too, because that was let me just pull it up real quick. So that was KSS, and then I'll get back to it. But look at that. I remember looking at this yesterday. I was like, no, maybe I was like, look at. I think I was maybe bearish on this because of this crazy bar yesterday. That's really, gosh, they are. Market can be nasty, can it? I mean, look at that. It just pushed to the downside and then gaps up and goes today. I mean, just nasty. And that kind of shows you the power of these gaps, right? This is it's called a 180 gap reversal. What happens is it traps anybody who is short in this this position right here, because this you would expect to get some follow through the next day, right? Because it had a big push down, it was higher than average volume, right? This bar here was higher than average volume, and then the next day it gaps up, and then so everybody who is here who is short because they like this bar so much because there's a great short bar right there, right, is now stuck above this, and then they just have to cover, and then the good news comes out and all that stuff, and just keeps on pushing it. So if anybody got caught there, that's not fun. I'm sorry. I thought it was. I thought I remember it being bullish, but this is a good lesson on gaps. These are very powerful gaps if you can catch these. Just so you know. So if you have a gap that reverses over a prior big, right? This is basically a professional gap. as they say. And so anything that reverses over, so if we were green here and then we gap down red here, everybody who is long here is going to get trapped. They're going to have to dump their shares, and it just pushes it even farther. That's why it was such a big bar today. Nasty if you were caught in that, but but it's a good lesson on these gaps. So yeah. Anyway, sorry guys. Augustine, what's going on? So Diz, let's take a look at Diz. All right, let's see. Diz with its amazing move, since they did their Investors Day, has been really strong, right? So they have earnings coming up again, 5/8, so not too far away. But this is kind of one of those keys. A couple of you have been asking about gaps and trading options, after earnings and all that stuff. So this is very similar to that. If you weren't able to catch this huge gap up beforehand, I know a few of you did. That's when you look for, when you have a big gap like this, you look for a break of those levels, right? Or you look for another setup in there. So say you had an inside bar here, you might look for a break of that to the upside. So at this point, you have this doji, right? Kind of, what is it, abandoned baby type style. And so, gap up, doji. This is supposed to be a bearish pattern. It could be 3 dojis. So if you had doji, 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 like that, if you go through the flashcard set, you'll see that. And it's supposed to be bearish, but it actually has a really low probability. It's kind of like, I think the best is like 50-50. So at this point, it's just, kind of chopping, I think, probably until earnings. I wouldn't expect to see any huge green bars unless they came up with some crazy news until earnings. So just because there is a gap below it, so if the market is weak tomorrow, you might want to try to, you could try to go for a fill on that. Disney's a little tough to trade intraday, but if you can catch those big swing moves, it's pretty awesome. NetFry, what's going on? J&J to get out from the 140 trap. Okay, yeah, absolutely. What's going on, NetFry? So J&J, we talked about this yesterday. Yeah, wow, it sure tried. And we did talk about this inside day at the cloud, right? So inside day, boom, break after cloud support, nice push to the upside. So that was hugely bullish day to day. Of course, everything was, but this does look like one of those tower tops right there. So just be careful and look where it is. It's right at the. Okay, that's a lot of lines there, but let's zoom in. It is at a pitchfork. Larger pitchfork. This is the bigger pitchfork here. We can see it kind of highlighting right there. It has that pitchfork resistance. So that's the only thing, right? So it had an awesome day today, but J&J is not the one to, typically it doesn't just, it does get a couple runs every now and again, but big push here. Might get some consolidation, and then might try to break out. So just watch out. It's at, pitchfork resistance right there. So that's the word of caution on that one. So, but if it could break out, then I think you could do it. You could get out the trap. Bargain, what's going on? BIIB. Ooh, earnings. Let's see. Let's see what they might be up to. Well, it got crushed back here, and I remember this. So it's been kind of holding up. It wouldn't surprise me if they tried to push it up with earnings to start to get back to where it was, but it just got destroyed from 320 down to 220, so a 100-point drop. It is getting a little bit constructive here, but we just kind of have to evaluate. In fact, let's draw a channel here. There. Why won't that close? Okay, there, and then just kind of down here. So you can kind of see it's range bound in this area. So see where it gaps tomorrow, see where they put it. If they put it above that pivot level, right, it might get constructive and start trying to work its way back up to where it used to be. If not, and it kind of gaps below that level, I think there's going to be a lot of upset people, right? Because the volume has really been a lot higher than average here. And if it loses on earnings again, I think there's just going to be people who are trying to hold it, or even we're trying to go for a gap fill, they're just going to dump it. And so let's just go and look at the daily on this and see. This thing, it does like the gap, doesn't it? Let's see if there's any sort of... Okay, so there is some support here. Let's see if there's any more. I'm going to draw a line. There. Okay, let's see if we've got anything there or below it. Next kind of pivot kind of support levels are like here and here. So let's see where it gaps tomorrow. See where they put it. If it gaps down, if it gaps below it, what's the expected move? All you do is click on trade here, and you can see it right there. So that's your MMM is your market maker move. It's usually really almost identical to your implied volatility. So about 11 points, 11%, or I'm sorry, 11 points here, and then so 11 points there. So which is really, just so you guys know, is just if you take your like your straddle prices, it's typical. This is this one here. It's typically that. So it's about 11 points. So you have about, 8 plus 4 is 12, or, so it's kind of like in that area here. So you just add your in the money, there you go. 6 plus 6 is 12. So you just kind of add your at the money levels, and you kind of get your implied volatility, but or your market maker move. So if it gaps to below 220, then it will be below some support, and it might. So here's this 215 is that channel area. So if it gets below that, then it might push down to like 203. If it pushes up, well, then it's just got to start working up on its gap. So that's that there. Sonny, what's going on? AYX, DRY, and ramp. So AYX. Wow, this is a bullish setup here. So 5-1 is earnings. This has just been very. I wish I could kind of. It's hard to do a parabola in Thinkorswim. I have to learn to see if there's a tool for that. But yeah, this has been pretty amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a fib fan on this from these lows of 14 all the way up to 86. Incredible move. So it's been working, as you can see, it's kind of working up these fib fan lines. Worked its way up here. If anything, again, similar to earlier. So we have this, kind of this flag type look. Have to see how strong it is. It's it's a little risky up here, kind of at these levels, but yeah, it could work its way obviously higher if the earnings are good. So, interesting one there. And then let's see, DRI. Is that dry ships? Oh, I'm sorry, Darden, excuse me. So we looked at this recently. We have this pennant structure that ended up working out pretty well. It's starting to break out from there. Let me just look here, sorry. Wow. Very consistent. Let's draw a channel here too. It's kind of here. Just want to tag a couple of those. There. Okay, so you can kind of see it's been kind of working its way up this channel. So kind of hit this channel top here. It found some support, found some support levels, and it's kind of breaking out of a mini pennant. And so we just have to see if it gets follow through. Right, so there's your pennant. Nice consolidation, nice breakout. It did give I think it looks like a topping tail today. So here, so just be careful with that. Just be wary of that because it might push down, kind of come back into that sort of lower trend line area. But it is trend change, so it could work its way again back up to your the upper channel here, maybe to 125. So it does have some potential. And then ramp. Liver Lamp Holdings, wow. You guys know cloud breaks and retests of clouds can be incredible. Well, this was really good. So you had nice consolidation here after, breaks down, kind of works its way back up. Nice consolidation here, works its way back up, comes back down right to the cloud, and then boom, right off of that. Nice push to the upside there. So will it get follow through? Maybe. You kind of have this kind of three white shoulders, but they're really extended. So to me, it seems like some consolidation might be in store. I'm just going to see how the price action's been in the past. I mean, it's had some big bars before, but then see how it kind of pauses a little bit. But here it seems like it might want to come here to kind of test the cloud again and then see what it does. But that was your move right there. That break tags the cloud and then back up. So nice one. Nice, good stuff. Le Machine Polonaise, GDX and NG. Okay, let's take a look. So GDX, and there's a question about GDX. Is it trying to fill the gap from the 25th of January? And where could the bottom of NG? Absolutely. We'll take a look. So GDX, the 25th of January. That was, wow, gosh. It's amazing it's already April, right? 25th of January. So here we go. Okay. So there's your gap. Your gap fill is at 2059. So I would say yes, that it is possible. 2061 is your 200-day moving average. So why wouldn't it want to test that area? So you're at this fib fan line here, which we've tested before, and then we have an intersection of two fib fan lines here because I remember you asked about this in the past, and it does seem possible like it would test that, and then you might get some strength after that. Last time it tested the 200-day moving average, the last time it did, it actually created that gap. So yeah, I'd say this is definitely in a key area. So I do think it is possible, especially with a day like today. Goodness. And then NG. Let's see. Okay, so this is one of your cloud situations. So this is push down, holds the cloud. This is key area right here. Basically kind of tests the 200-day moving average area as well. Gets over sold, starts to get oversold at the 40 level, and then so this could be the area. Did it fill the gap here? So your high was 401 and your low today was 399. So it did fill this gap here, very similar, 200-day moving average. And there you go. So that could be it, right? So, I'm sorry, I didn't notice this one right here. The gap had already been filled, but it retested those areas. It's at a good level right here. This could find some support at the cloud. If not, your next level is 389, and if that's not it, then you've got 378. And then if that's not it, you've got 369 at the fib fan level. So, and then you've got a couple pivots down here, which is possible. But if anything, this does look like good consolidation. Nice pennant. We looked at it here for potential. It didn't do it. It retested the cloud. And now if it can break out there, that does have some potential to move. Again, but I don't know how this thing trades into the summer months, right? So I'd have to look at it. But I could definitely understand why it's going down. So just be careful of that. Harvey, what's going on? Apple, no problem. My pleasure. Hope you had a great day today, man. Okay, so Apple's still bullish. I mean, just incredibly bullish, right? So we have earnings next week, and it is just the only word of caution I would have here is you're touching now a pitchfork level that you're getting to. So let me zoom out a little bit. I know it's hard to see here. Let me see if it's on the daily. Yeah, so you can kind of look at this big pitchfork from up here. See this straight blue line, straight blue line, right? So that was from the all-time highs all the way to the December lows, the January lows, and then it is now made it to the median line. So if it pivots here, that warrants caution going into earnings. If it can break through it, that's different. Might get constructive, might consolidate a little bit, and then continue to work its way. Look how it's just kind of been following this Fibonacci arc all the way up here. So it could kind of come into it a little bit and then move. So we'll see. It's coming into some key levels. Earnings, again, are the 29th, 5-3. Looks like the intersection of the fib arc and the pitchfork. So it could be pretty interesting. Might get a little more push, but nice. It was a little choppy yesterday, but nice follow through today. So good stuff there. Bruce, what's going on? Good to see you, man. Ricky Chan, what's up? It's that time again. Appreciate it, Guru. No problem. I mean, my pleasure. So BKNG. Okay, so this we had already done this channel on it, so pretty amazing channel, right? And then we did a kind of a mini pitchfork here. So I got through that, but it is at the top of the channel here. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this, and we'll talk about our strategies. We came up with a strategy to use into its earnings, or into kind of earnings. We won't trade BKNG before, but we'll newsletter subscribers are privy to this. But anyway, so it's looking pretty good. It's kind of hitting the top of the channel. If it breaks through there, it might test the top of the pitchfork. If not, it might start working its way back down. And then CRM. Good old CRM. So CRM, as everybody knows, is challenging to trade, but it did give us a very interesting undershoot of this triangle, and then kind of worked its way back up. So this was kind of a tell that if it could get back up here, it might get bullish. So at this point, it could work its way back up to all-time highs. It's back at this kind of key area. So it earnings coming up. End of May, so if anything, if it could break out and get through this pitchfork, it could kind of start doing its own thing and work a little bit, work more to the upside. So that does look interesting, especially if tech is strong over the next couple days with Amazon reporting, Microsoft reporting, and Facebook reporting. So that could be pretty good. And then Twilio. Cool. Yeah, we've been tracking this one for a while. Been working its way up this pitchfork, kind of broke through again, back in the pitchfork range, and now it's trying to break out one more time. So we'll see if it can do that. So and then earnings are coming up on the 30th. So just watch out. It's at the top. So if it pivots here, it could work its way back down. So a little bit tricky area at this point, but we like pivots at key levels, right? So that's good. Raphael, what's going on? Good to see you, man. GWW. I think if you caught earlier, we did Granger a little bit earlier, but at this point, it needs to hold this level. If it breaks under today's lows, that could be bad, right? Because it put in a hammer today, or a large-bodied hammer today. If it breaks, it gives you a tail fail to the downside. It could test 280, 265, but it's held this volumetric level. So if it breaks today's highs, it could get further, constructive up to 312, maybe up to 318, in the future. PG. Mm. PG with the beatdown. Let's see. That was today, and they kind of, even on guidance and all that stuff. Just I would trade the 30-minute orb tomorrow, just kind of see how that looks. If anything, it might retest here this 100 level. That's a key number anyway. Those kind of whole number, psychological number. So if it does test that, then that would be maybe a good place to attempt to maybe go long. But look how it can chop for a very, very long time. This is not a high beta type stock. I don't really like to trade this one, but it's one of those ones you could swing maybe for a couple months, with a high delta or something like that if it hits kind of a level right there. So that 100 looks pretty key on PG. WH, Wyndham Hotels. Yeah, looking good. What do we have, an inside day yesterday? Let me pull up the candlesticks on the daily. Low 53, 52, 53, not quite. So, try to give you like that kind of momentum shooting star right there. Here was your shooting star right here at the upper Bollinger Band and overbought levels. So that was a nice short opportunity there. Pretty high probability trade. And now it's kind of getting constructive again. It's reclaimed the levels. In fact, my friend, this is a morning star. Look, so downtrend, even though it's short term, downtrend, big red bar, real body that closes below the real body here, and then next real body closes over 50% of this body. This is a morning star reversal. So this is a great setup right here. Screenshot it. It is very possible. This has a very high probability of continuing to the upside. So nice one there. You can also check out the flashcard video on my YouTube channel too. So it has a link to the flashcards that you guys can go through. So in fact, I have that pulled up right here. So I'll post that at the bottom. 1 second. Let me do the flashcards. So if you guys feel like messing around with candlestick flashcards, I made some for you guys. So right there at the bottom. Good stuff. And then VZ. Yes, Verizon. Wow. Look at that, guys. Incredible. Look where it tagged. Right at the cloud. Came right back up off of it. Gotta love it. I'm bullish on Verizon. I've been for a while. I think they beat on earnings. Yeah, they beat on earnings. And I can't remember. Something happened, pre-market that got everybody scared about it or something that kind of went down. But it really held that level really well. Nice gap above it. Another gap right here. And then the weekly Keltner channel too is I've been stalking this one for a while. So see this weekly Keltner? This could be a nice reversion to the mean. Everything is still pointing up, and then you could get a nice swing trade to the upside. So not a horrible place to attempt, especially the way it reversed off the cloud right there. So you might get a little consolidation days here, but eventually it might pop and then fill that gap for you. So that does look really, really interesting. So great, nice one there. Osama, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Surely good call on KO. I know, she just nails them all. Jesse, what's up? Good to see you, man. Oh, Snap. Let's see. So Snap is earnings tonight, right? And didn't it get, yeah, just crazy. So there we go. So there's your 30-minute bars right there in earnings. So way up, way down, and now just like super chop into the open. 15-minute orb tomorrow. Let's see how it does. Right, that's the best way to do it. Is just trade that. Use that first 15-minute bar tomorrow and trade off of it and see if it makes any sense. If you like trading Snap, I don't really like messing with Snap, but it is it is possible it could give you a good 15-minute orb setup for the upside or the downside. Let's just look real quick and just kind of see if there's any major stuff going on. So we've got. Okay, so we kind of start here even. There's a gap below, that's a possibility. It could get filled. Otherwise, you've got, volumetric resistance here at like 1350 or something like that, 1344. So, kind of little penny stock type stuff. But I've tried trading this before. Just doing the pennies on the slow moving pennies on the options is tough. So, but it could get some momentum tomorrow after earnings. So it could be pretty neat. Nice one. Jay, all good. Richard, what's going on, man? Yeah, let's take a look at Spot and BLFS. Good job today, too, Richard. Awesome work today. Spot. Almost a bull flag here. I saw something negative written about it recently, like today. Oh yeah, it was like a article about it. Let me see. Oh, why spot is worth the risk. Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, it got cut though. What was it yesterday? That's right. Yeah. So downgrades, but we know that downgrades are typically opportunities for institutions to get into a stock. So bull flag here. On this kind of channel, so they pushed it down as much as they could. Now it's breaking. It's up above these volumetric levels, so there is a possible chance of this thing kind of get some movement to the upside. So it is fast. It is expensive. So just be careful with that. Keep if you're thinking about it. Light risk. Stop below like 134 or something. See if we can get some follow through if it breaks that bull flag to the upside. Earnings are, but just be careful with that. With premium next week, right? So the 29th was that Monday? Yeah, Monday. So, so just be careful with that going into earnings. So that's the only thing that's coming up there with it. So, so they might be, I don't know, they're playing some games with it right now. For me, I'd kind of keep my hands off of it, but there is a possibility of that bull flag break. So just be careful with premiums and all that stuff. BLFS. BioLife Solutions. That sounds legit, doesn't it? Okay, so what you've got here is a cup and handle, right? Rising, cupping, handling, right? So you do have that. A couple things to note. Trend line was broken here. Okay, retested it and it's kind of working its way back down, but holding these levels here. That's the only thing I would look at is just these levels here. I would just watch that 15 kind of 28 right there, for support, just because it held that pivot level right there. See how it holds that. If it breaks through that, I mean, it just looks pretty nasty. It'd probably come back down to $10. But if it can hold that, and it has earnings, early May, it might start to push its way back up. But here was your trend break right there, and then you got confirmation just a couple of days ago, and now it's kind of working there. So short, in my opinion, I would short under if I were trading at 1534-ish, with maybe a first target at like 1250 or 13, and then your next level is basically $10, so or 11. So pretty interesting one there. But this cup and handle is very interesting. So. It might consolidate here for a while and then eventually give you a nice breakout. So really neat one. Never saw that one before. Bruce, what's up? CGC? Cool. Yeah, this has been tricky. Let's see. So we're looking at this one. We saw this pennant here. It pushed a little bit below it, then finally broke. I think it went on Tokyo Stock Exchange or something. We had some news, and then it got a little bit of follow through. It's just kind of consolidating here. Your level is 45.98, 46.11. So figure 46. As long as it stays above that, it could work. This was the move right here. So remember we kind of highlighted this in the Positive Trends newsletter. Potential break right here. Kind of gave a little bit of a move, undershot this fib fan level, and then finally broke, right? So, but inside day to day, so just watch those levels. The inside day breaks to the high or to the low. But your 46 level really needs to hold that. If it doesn't, then you've got a potential gap fill there at 43.28. Good stuff. Sagar, what's going on? Let's see. Hold on. UNH and Apple going up quietly. Nice. Well, yeah, good. I like that. Yeah, Apple is going up quietly too. A decent day today. And UNH, like you said, look at that. Got over, hold on. Got over your fib fan level right here. Look at that. 3 white soldiers too. So nice catch there. Thank you for bringing that up. And I hope you're profiting well from it. So BKL. Biotechnology reduced value, BKL. This one may not come up for me, Cigar. I apologize. Netflix and Diz, both awesome. Do you think it's gonna? It's good to be long Diz's earnings. I don't trade into earnings unless I've got like freebies from like a swing option trade or something like that. So that's just pretty much how I look at it. Yeah, that BKL is not coming up. But yeah, I mean it could. I mean it had a huge move after its Investors Day. So I don't know if the move is going to be over. Disney is typically not one that really goes crazy at earnings, and it is tricky to trade intraday. So that catching that move was the big one on Disney, but it may have some a positive move on it. So that looks pretty good. Ike, what's going on? Good to see you. Call us all. Another great day. Awesome, man. I'm really happy about that. Great job. Merritt, yep, my pleasure. So let's look at Nvidia and Xilinx. and dead. You can tell we're getting tired. NVDA. Let's see. Yeah, so Nvidia. Right, this is our trade of the week. For newsletter subscribers not too long ago. So we had the triangle, it broke that. That was what we were looking for, and for a gap fill, it kind of got as close as it could, and then came back through. That's kind of your midpoint level right here. It's working. I mean, it had this bullish engulfing day, and then got some follow through on that, and now it's kind of just pausing out a little bit. I just, to me, I'm just not super bullish. I mean, Nvidia can come out of nowhere, but to me, it seems like what they like to do with it is before earnings, they might push it down. Right, so we are in a channel right here. So if they do push it down, then it might get its move, for earnings or something. So we'll keep it on the radar. Yeah, nothing actionable right now for me. So that's that. And then Xilinx, thank you for bringing that up, because this is one I really want to add to my watch list because it's just been so crazy. So we were tracking this. We had this bull flag here, broke to the upside. Then we had this ascending triangle right here, and then finally broke to the upside. And then here it's at the, let's see what this retracement looks like. Goodness gracious. It's all the way up to the 261.8% retracement from, where did I have this last time? Basically from these levels here, to these pivot levels here. I mean, it's working its way out. It's really chugging. Inside 60 anchor to close. If you like trading this, that's what gives you a 60 anchor at the close. And then today, again, overbought on the RSI at the upper, getting close to the upper Bollinger Band. Earnings are coming up tomorrow after the market. So no real opinion into earnings, right? Because I don't like to trade into earnings, but this will be interesting to see what it does. It was its last earnings that kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, Xilinx, I haven't heard of these guys since like the 90s, and like they or 2000, early 2000s, but had this amazing report that came out, and it's just been super bullish since then. So pretty amazing stuff, and any pullbacks have been viable. So we'll see what the earnings look like tomorrow. So it could be pretty interesting. Oh, Roku Cloud Lake on the weekly, nice. Oh man, look at that, incredible. Gosh, I think they downgrade it yesterday too, and then pop. Gold cross here on the daily. Potential cloud break too on the daily as well. Look at that, filled that gap too perfectly. Nice gap above right here at 68. So your breakout point here is basically today's high over like say 63.50, and then it could work its way up to 68. And then your weekly, like you said, look at that over volumetric level and over the cloud. I mean, just very, very nice. So Roku is definitely on the radar. And this might be a trade of the week next week if it just consolidates here. So, but it does have earnings coming up, and well, not too far out. So we'll take a look at this one. But yeah, great catch on that one. Very, very nice. Merritt, Tilray. Let's take a look. Yep, it's finally doing it. Right, so it's starting to look a little more constructive. Nice bar here, inside day. Yep, inside day. So a break of the inside day to the upside could continue to push. Lift, very nice ones. Oh, Tilray and Lift are only different by one letter. R. Okay, cool. So this was interesting too. It got upgraded and then it kind of went right back down. So it gapped up and came right back down. This is your key level right here. This 60 is your key level. So as long as it holds 60, it could actually be bullish again, right? And there's a couple little gaps above too. So it's not making it easy for anybody, but it is for bulls. But it is it has some potential on it. Jay, so the cloud is there to show an uptrend. Yeah. So the cloud, if you kind of go back, I did a video on it not too long ago. I'll put a link to that there too. 1 second. Where's my cloud video? It's like my favorite video of all time because like I think I got most of the Japanese pronounced correctly, and did. Oh, let's see. 1 second. Oh, wait. Do I have it saved? I should. There we go. Cloud. I'm gonna post the link to the video at the bottom here. There. Okay, so but check through that. The first 15 minutes or so, I kind of go through the the cloud. But yeah, basically the cloud is all it is it projects your moving averages forward and then fills in the blanks basically. So Lyft doesn't have a cloud yet because it hasn't been around that long. But if we go back to Roku, so what it does is just translates what is it your 26 excuse me. Your 26 moving average forward and your 9 moving average forward, and then it kind of gives like this, kind of these zones, and a lot of research has been done on it. And it really is effective, and there's algorithms that are programmed right that can trade off. So it does give you really key levels on it. So, but yeah, generally it's like I said, it's your moving average projected forward, and then can show you that you are uptrending at that time. And there's a couple of techniques like where it gets thin and it kind of comes together. There could be a possible change in trend coming, which it did. It's not an exact science, but here eventually the trend did change as those levels changed. So here's kind of bearish, right? So we're underneath the red cloud there. We're kind of moving down in that direction of the cloud, and all it's doing is taking the moving average, which is going down anyway, and projecting it forward. It's when you have these kind of crossover points or they meet is where you can get some pretty explosive moves on it. So, but yeah, definitely go check out that video if you can, because I was a little pretty clear on that. So. Or lucid when I was going through it. So, NetFry KSS store deal with Amazon, but just crazy how they did that. They pushed it down yesterday and then boom to the upside. Just nasty market stuff. Oh, good, Raphael. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, and I'm glad you didn't get caught in that. But it was bearish. I mean, if the trade was, if it got continued, it was a nasty bar, right? Look at that, broke through the cloud too. So continuation was your trade today, right? So that was if you broke, but to the downside, you want to trade that to the downside, but it never did that, right? Instead, it gapped above it, complete reversal over key resistance too, 200-day moving average, and you had another pivot level here, and then so everybody who's short here gets caught, and they start covering, and then you take out some other pivot level. Just an amazing move, just nasty. So, but good, thanks. Thanks, Raphael. I'm sorry I forgot who mentioned it yesterday. Shirley, what's going on? Let's run through. I'll run through a few of these. You only have 5 today, so yeah, we'll go through those. So, and then it's already 10:30, so we'll probably want to wrap up pretty soon. So, Ford, big move today. Very bullish. So we got earnings coming up in 2 days. So just be careful going into that. But otherwise, looking good. SCHW. Okay, yeah, cool. Schwab got through earnings already, held the cloud, and bullish engulfing day after an inside day. So that looks good. GM, the most boring stock. Ford and GM are just so boring to trade. But nice hammer today, kind of off the cloud. The cloud's starting to kind of move to the downside, so make sure it doesn't follow that down. So you really want to break over today's highs. Key. Key is looking good. There you go. There's your cloud break right there. Very nice. A couple of financials were doing this too. So that's really starting to poke up above the cloud here. Might consolidate one more day and then give you a pop. Financials are tough to trade, but it's in a great area. And then Siri. We looked at yesterday. Nice 3-cent move off this. It's just so tough to trade those penny stocks, but if you're into it, it's good. Nice belt hold bar today. It is at upper Keltner channel, and it does have earnings coming up tomorrow, so just be careful with that. But good stuff. No problem, Nefry. My pleasure. Let's see. Jay Apem. Artisan Partners. Whoa, what a bar. Goodness gracious. Amazing bar today. Earnings coming up next week. Yeah, that's a big bar right there. I mean, pretty good stuff. Not a lot of volume, though. Actually, less volume than yesterday. So just sort of like this kind of drift to the upside. But it would have been nice to be in from the lows today. Look at that. Amazing. It is coming up into some volumetric resistance right there. So 29.44, 29.50. So just be careful with that. If you can get above it, you might get some, some moves. There. No problem, Richard. Man, my pleasure. Good to see you, man. Bruce, have a good night, my friend. Shirley Zinga. Let's just take a look real quick. ZNGA. This used to be very popular. But yeah, this is our, remember our pitchfork we did a couple months ago? Just kind of holding those levels right there and starting to move to the upside. Just, again, be careful with earnings May 1st. Cigar, no problem. It's BLK. Oh, okay, cool. BlackRock. Was that from like Space Odyssey or something? Anyway, so this. Wow. Resistance zone. Just be careful with that. Kind of that fib fan resistance. They are legit. This was prior support. Kind of resistance area. It's getting through it, but your congestion zone is in there. So this is, you're in a really key area. So your breakout point is 490 and above. If it apparently they've gotten huge flows of money into it too. I think they mentioned that on earnings not too long ago. And then break to the downside could retest kind of that 435 level. So just a couple key levels there for you. Good stuff. Manoj, what's going on? Good to see you, man. Have a good night. Harvey, have a great night. Jay, awesome. La Machine Polonaise, have a great night. Richard, have a great night. And hope we got to check out that video for members only, where we kind of went into a little more detail of the key stuff. And then Raphael, jumping into Roku calls for the last 9 quarters and 8 days prior to reporting and jumping out one day before the report has worked every time. Don't know if it'll work this time, but with DizzinPay. I know, man. Hey, I mean, it's looking super strong. So awesome stuff on that. Everybody, have a great night. Appreciate everybody. Thank you to all new subscribers. Thank you for subscribers on YouTube. Thank you for subscribers to the newsletter. And thank you to followers on Twitter. Really appreciate everybody. Have a great night. Remember, trade safe tomorrow. Remember your risk first and trade safe so you can stay in the game. So have a great night, and I will talk to you guys soon.